The Glazers' controversial reign at Manchester United could finally be coming to an end, with Qatar'S groundbreaking bid on the brink of transforming the club forever. For nearly 2 decades, the Glazer family's ownership of Manchester United has been mired in controversy, acrimony, and a slow-burning resentment that has defined the club's modern narrative as much as its storied past. Now, as rumors swirl and negotiations reach a fever pitch, Qatar'S potentially transformative bid to acquire the club promises a dramatic new chapter, one that could finally end the Glazers' turbulent reign and reshape Manchester United's future in ways few could have imagined. The Glazers' acquisition of Manchester United in 2005 was a seismic event in English football. Using a leveraged buyout, they acquired control of the club by loading much of the purchase debt onto United itself, a financial maneuver deeply unpopular with fans. What had been a financially stable and self-sustaining football institution was suddenly saddled with over £500 million in debt, and fans were left fuming over what they saw as corporate exploitation. From the beginning, many supporters, including the vociferous Manchester United Supporters Trust Must, expressed concern over the long-term consequences of the Glazers' business-first approach. The iconic green and gold movement emerged in protest, referencing the club's original Newton Heath colours, as a symbol of defiance. Fan campaigns, boycotts, and even the formation of breakaway club FC United of Manchester followed. While the Glazers oversaw considerable on-field success in the early years, most notably under the stewardship of Sir Alex Ferguson, their leadership was often seen as lacking strategic vision beyond financial metrics. United became a global commercial juggernaut, with sponsorship deals flooding in from every continent, but the footballing philosophy that had made the club great began to falter following Ferguson's retirement in 2013. Since Ferguson's departure, United have cycled through managers with alarming frequency: David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and most recently Erik ten Hag. Each was tasked with restoring United's glory, but each has struggled to find consistency amidst what many perceived as chaotic and underwhelming club management from the top down. Investment in players continued, often heavily, but recruitment strategies seemed haphazard. Big-name signings like Paul Pogba, Alexis Sanchez, and Romelu Lukaku failed to deliver consistent success. Despite this expenditure, United's results on the pitch rarely matched expectations, with the club falling behind rivals like Manchester City and Liverpool in both domestic and European competitions. Throughout this period, the Glazers remained largely silent, rarely engaging with fans or the media, and continuing to draw dividends from the club. In 2021, their involvement in the ill-fated European Super League project, an attempt to create a breakaway competition for Europe's elite, was seen as a final betrayal by many supporters. The backlash was so fierce that it led to widespread protests, including one that forced the postponement of a match against Liverpool. In late 2022, after years of pressure and speculation, the Glazers confirmed they were exploring strategic alternatives, including a potential full sale of Manchester United. What followed was a protracted bidding process with multiple contenders, but none more significant or controversial than the Qatar bid led by Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani. The bid, rumored to be in excess of £5 billion, promised not only to clear the club's debt entirely but also to invest heavily in infrastructure, including upgrades to Old Trafford and Carrington training facilities. More importantly, Sheikh Jassim's team pledged to return the club to the pinnacle of world football, promising a reset that would prioritize sporting excellence over shareholder profits. To many fans, particularly those desperate to see the end of the Glazer regime, Qatar's bid represents hope, ambition, and restoration. But the proposal is not without its critics. Concerns have been raised about human rights, sportswashing, and the implications of state-affiliated ownership in football. Similar criticisms have followed Qatar's growing involvement in sports globally, from hosting the 2022 World Cup to investments in Paris Saint-Germain. Nonetheless, for a large section of Manchester United's global fan base, the immediate priority remains the removal of the Glazers. To them, the bid from Qatar, whether viewed as a savior or a moral conundrum, is the first real prospect of change in a generation. As of mid-2025, Qatar's bid is reportedly on the brink of completion. If finalized, it would not only be one of the most expensive takeovers in sports history but also a moment of historic transformation for Manchester United. The end of the Glazer era would be greeted with jubilation by many fans, marking the conclusion of a long, painful chapter. The club's future, under Qatari ownership, could usher in a new golden era or introduce a fresh set of challenges, depending on one's perspective. What is clear, however, is that Manchester United stands at a crossroads, and the decisions made in the coming weeks will shape its trajectory for decades. The Glazers' time at Manchester United will be remembered as one of corporate gain and footballing frustration, a period where a club steeped in tradition struggled to balance its soul with its spreadsheet. Now, with Qatar's groundbreaking bid looming, the promise of renewal feels tangible. Whether this transition heralds a renaissance or a reckoning remains to be seen, but for now, hope has returned to Old Trafford, and with it, the dream of a club finally reclaiming its rightful place at football's summit.